What artist loved sunflowers, cut off his ear, and revolutionized painting? Vincent van Gogh, of course. But what else can we know about this giant of European art? A new exhibit, Painted with Words, Vincent van Gogh's Letters to Émile Bernard, at the Morgan Library and Museum, reveals a mature artist struggling with his own concerns even as he advises and encourages a younger friend. Curator Jennifer Tonkovich shares with Canape the story of letters never seen before in public.
Émile Bernard and Vincent van Gogh met in Paris. They really met at the paint shop of a man named Julien Père-Tanguy, and they came to know each other. And we know that they spent a lot of time with a group of other painters like Toulouse-Lautrec and Seurat and Signac, talking in the cafes along the boulevards of Paris about modern art. And so this really formed a strong friendship. The first letter from Van Gogh to Bernard, in fact, dates from this time in Paris, where they were still physically in the same place. And it was written after, obviously, a heated argument between the two. And so Van Gogh's writing to apologize, and that he stormed off in a huff and left rather abruptly the previous day. But the correspondence really took off when Van Gogh left Paris in February of 1888. He got on the train and hopped off in Arles. And during that period, when Bernard was still in Paris and also spent time in Brittany with Gauguin, this is when Van Gogh's writing to him and Bernard's writing back, and we really have a dialogue taking place. Bernard was a young man who had decided to become an artist, but he was also a poet. So during this period, we see him friends with Toulouse-Lautrec and friends with Seurat, as well as becoming friends with Baudelaire. And so you see him straddling these two worlds. I think one of the most moving and profound letters is probably letter 7, which includes sketches of two very important works, one of which is The Sower. And the painting of The Sower really is a breakthrough, and in part because this is an important icon for Van Gogh, the idea of the sower who works the earth, who sows seeds. And he had a close association with peasants and with laborers. He explains in the letter about the very physical work he has to do to paint, and that he's packing up all his materials and hiking out into the fields. He includes a sketch in that same letter that's very small of how he uses a peg to secure his easel to the ground during the blowing winds of the Mistral. The letter is also tinged with a bit of nostalgia and regret, because the artist is 35 and he's thinking about where he is in his life and where he is in realizing his goals. He also says, I wish we were all down here, you and me and Gauguin. And you can see this yearning for this community of artists that he dreamed of, and is a constant theme throughout the letters. He refers to a painting that he's dreaming of doing, and he says, but when will I do the starry sky then, the painting that's always on my mind? Alas, alas, it's just as our excellent pal Cyprien says in En Ménage by Huysmans. The most beautiful paintings are those that one dreams of while smoking a pipe in one's bed, but which one doesn't make. But it's a matter of attacking them nevertheless, however incompetent one may feel vis-à-vis the ineffable perfections of nature's glorious splendors. One unique thing about the letters to Bernard is, unlike the letters to his brother or other family members, there's a frankness and a freshness. Van Gogh could relax, he could speak very informally, and speak about things that he wouldn't necessarily share with his brother. Some of the running themes throughout the letters are prostitution and the relationship between sexual activity and painting, and good painting, virile painting. But hearing these expressed to Bernard, what he feels that, you know, if Bernard and Gauguin were to come down and visit him, they could go to a brothel every fortnight, so every 2 weeks. But it has to be in moderation, because all that energy really needed to be devoted to painting if they were going to be truly great painters. It's a wonderful opportunity to show these letters in New York, where the public has had some experience with recent Van Gogh exhibitions and come to know his drawings and come to know his relationship with other artistic movements. And so we have a public who's very knowledgeable about Van Gogh's art and his life. And when you discover what a wonderful writer he is, and you have that access to his thoughts, there's something very intimate about that and very appealing, as well as counteracts this eccentric, isolated genius idea. The handwriting's legible, his thoughts are rational, and he's very clear about what he's communicating. The way that Van Gogh closes his letters is really quite touching, because it's still also very, very rooted in the physical relationship, and by that I just mean the relationship they had while they were both in Paris together, and that warm handshake. And so he's often saying a handshake in thought, or I shake your hand warmly, really conveying this camaraderie and that sense of touch, because he is by himself down there, and that he's connecting through writing the letters, but also through this idea of, I wish I could shake your hand. And I think that really does bring together a certain closeness, because of course they weren't to see each other again. And so you really get a sense that even though the period that they were in the same place was brief in 1886 and 1887, that this sense of a continued relationship in something like a simple handshake is continued throughout the correspondence.
The blink of an eye can tell a big story. No more so than when French fashion writer Jean-Dominique Bauby suffered an overwhelming stroke which left him paralyzed with only the muscle of an eyelid under his control. He dictated an entire memoir letter by letter using a system of blinks. American director and painter Julian Schnabel, whose previous films include Basquiat and Before Night Falls, takes on the task of translating Bauby's book to the screen. The director and his stars, Marie-Josée Croze, Mathieu Amalric, and Emmanuel Seigner, discuss their award-winning film with Canape.
I made it because I had to deal with it, and it was a way of dealing with my own immortality, dealing with my father's death, and telling a story that I found to have beautiful language in, and it gave me a total freedom to include whatever I wanted into a movie and invent a structure that could lead me to something I hadn't seen before.
In the first part of the film, where you don't see him yet, and you are in his thoughts, so I try to say things about looking at girls and, having fun always, all the time, with his thoughts. And trying, yes, in the moment where he is feeling himself like in a diving bell, that means stuck in a body that can't respond, but most of the time it had to do with the butterfly and the imagination and the memories that could bring him anywhere he wanted.
I met a locked-in syndrome case at the hospital. I met two speech therapists. One is the one I played, and another one just to compare, because they're all working in a different way. And so it gives us the possibility with Julian to really talk deeply on each sequence and be sure that everything was really right.
Regarde, il se réveille.
Putain, un hôpital.
Monsieur Bobby, vous êtes à l'hôpital. Vous vous souvenez de ce qui vous est arrivé?
Vaguement, j'ai des images.
Vous avez eu une attaque. Vous êtes resté dans le coma pendant presque 3 semaines. Mais vous êtes en train de vous réveiller. Et tout va aller très bien. Je vous le promets.
Merci.
Maintenant, j'ai besoin de vérifier 2 ou 3 choses. Quand je vous dis de cligner des yeux, clignez, s'il vous plaît. C'est très bien. Maintenant, essayez de dire votre nom.
Jean-Dominique Bobby.
Allez, essayez.
Je vous l'ai
Essayez
dit.
vraiment.
Quoi?
Dites-moi votre nom.
Jean-Dominique Bobby.
Ne vous en faites pas. Le processus est très lent. Mais vous retrouverez la parole.
The character I'm playing was not easy because it's very complex. She's a woman that has been left by that man 6 months before the accident with 3 kids. And it's between the revenge and the pity. And I didn't want her to be bitter, but I didn't want her at the same time to be a saint. So it was finding with Julian the right thing, you know, the right emotion.
If you close the door, just turn off the lights. The world looks better into the dark. Don't kiss me goodbye, baby, baby.
Basically, I decided that camera just had to be in the bed, and they're just talking to the camera, and that the people would have enough humanity in themselves to bring that to the people that were in the audience, and I think that they really did. And so to have somebody like Marie-Jo talking to the camera, and then the camera goes off this way, and it says, "Mr. Bobby, regarde-moi," you know, like, look at me. So it comes back to her. You really feel like he's there.
Vous vous sentez d'humeur plus coopérative? Bien. Vous savez, vous et moi, on est là pour progresser. Vous êtes d'accord?
Oui, maîtresse.
Très bien. Alors je commence. E-S-A-R-I-N-T-U-L-O-M-M. E-S-A-R-R. E-S-A-R-I-N-T-U-L-O-M-T-P-C-C. Merci. 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 Est-ce que je peux vous appeler Jando?
Pas compliqué, les femmes, hein.
Merci, Jando. Working in front of the camera, it's really challenging work for an actor because you're alone, and sometimes it's weird because you don't have the feedback, and you have to create everything, the rhythm, the silence, and the structure of what you're saying. And for me, because I'm the first person who will teach the audience, and Jean-Dominique Bobby, because he is the audience in a point. So it's very important to be clear.
And I sort of understood why he managed to like this state. It had to do like being the invisible man, you know? People just don't know you are here. And you're just watching everything, and you're observing everything. That was... In life, you don't have time to think.
Tout le monde prie pour toi et t'envoie des prières. Je suis venue sans les enfants. Je préférais te voir d'abord. Ils vont bien. Tu leur manques. C'est l'esprit pour toi tous les soirs. Tu veux que je les amène? J'ai parlé avec l'orthophoniste Henriette. Je l'aime bien. Elle pense qu'elle peut t'aider. Je t'en prie. Ne pleure pas.
I don't think that Jean Doe had any self-pity by the time he started to write this. And I absolutely was not interested in milking the movie for sentimentality. I think the fact that he was self-effacing, he had a great sense of humor, was very freeing. I did not make the movie to make money. I made the movie to tell this, to save my father of his fear of death. So, in that sense, or a self-help device for myself. And so, you try to behave in a code that your parents taught you, if you know, that you learn what it is to be correct and moral. And I think also hanging around with people that are in wheelchairs or that are sick, you kind of learn not to be patronizing.
Distance is a funny thing. Sometimes it isn't distant. Take the new photographic exhibit and its innovative companion book, Paris, New York, Shanghai, at the Aperture Gallery in New York. The thesis can be stated simply: 3 cities on 3 continents that might just be triplets separated at birth. Canape takes a look at who's who and where. Fashion is ephemeral, dangerous, and unfair. Those strong words could be from a jilted client or a bitter journalist. But instead, they come from the head of the House of Chanel, Karl Lagerfeld. As the subject of a new documentary, the legendary fashion czar, who has ruled his Parisian kingdom for over 2 decades, is never without a bon mot, an intriguing suggestion, or a witty mask of privacy. Filmmaker Rodolphe Marconi talks to Canape about portraying a man who says he likes being an apparition.
Les gens pensent que la mode, c'est d'être une star, une espèce de rockstar comme ça. Mais c'est pas ça, hein. C'est du boulot. Hein. C'est pas la vie mondaine. Moi, je travaille pas pour faire la vie mondaine, pour voyager, pour aller dans des vacances, au sport d'hiver. Tout ça, c'est secondaire pour moi.
I was like fascinated by Carl since I was 11, you know. And one day I decided to call his PR. And she told me, you are the one, like 100% wanted to make a film with him. So she said, no, it's not possible. And I hate when people say me no, you know. So the day after I call back and call back again. And after 3 months I was speaking with her and I showed her my films and she gave my films to Carl. And after 3 months she called me and she said, you have to lunch with Carl tomorrow at Carl's house. So I went and Carl says, okay, so what kind of film do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. I really don't know. I just want to be with you as close as possible than you. I didn't want to manipulate the thing.
Quand les gens me disent que les peu que gens que j'ai croisés dans ma vie qui m'ont connu enfant disent vous étiez une espèce de Shirley Temple garçon, vous étiez insupportable, etc., et tout le monde vous gâtait, eh bien moi j'avais toujours l'impression qu'on aurait pu faire encore un plus grand effort. Hein. Donc je trouvais que c'était jamais assez de toute façon. Hein. Quand je voulais lui parler, elle lui fait un effort. T'as 6 ans, pas moi, alors fais un effort ou tais-toi.
Elle était affectueuse?
Oui, elle l'était vraisemblablement, mais c'était pas non plus la mère abusive, que je détestais ça aussi. Elle était relativement distante et il fallait lutter pour ses faveurs. Et c'est mieux qu'une espèce de mère abusive qui se jette sur vous, qui vous embrasse. Ça, non, c'était pas ce genre et j'aurais détesté ça. Je trouvais qu'elle était parfaite comme ça, je n'aurais jamais voulu une autre. Et je la trouvais géniale et je trouvais tous les autres mères connes.
If you arrive with him and you try to be another person or someone else, he gonna kill you, you know. But if you are just yourself, it's okay, and he gonna love you, probably. Carl is always in the street, always in the life. He's very alive, in fact, and very curious, you know. He wants to know everything, he wants to see everything.
On avait fait des dossiers pour la couture, et c'était raté 3 fois de suite. Alors Eric Fender, le directeur de l'image de Chanel, m'a dit, écoutez, si vous êtes si difficile, faites-le vous-même. Et j'ai engagé un assistant, j'ai loué les caméras, et on l'a fait nous-mêmes, et c'est comme ça que ça a démarré. 6 mois après, on faisait des rédactionnels, des catalogues, de la pub, et ça s'est enchaîné. Mais j'ai toujours trouvé la photographie passionnante, mais je ne pensais pas que je pourrais en faire. Et puis, finalement, c'est pas si mal.
Everything is light with him. I would love to be like this, you know? Like, he works all the time, but he gives you always this impression he never works. Very polite, in fact. He's very hard with everybody when he works, but all the person knows him so well that they have the good way to work. They know the rules of the game, you know? So when he arrives, everything is ready, and it's like a machine, you know, with all in the machine.
C'est 6 mois, 6 mois, 6 mois. Et ces brèves échéances, finalement, doivent correspondre à quelque chose chez moi, parce que je n'aime que le changement. Je tiens à rien, en moi, juste parce qu'il faut bien entretenir la machine. Sortir de là, c'est pas très grave.
He says, I don't want to be a reality in people's life. I want to be an apparition. And I think Carl doesn't want people to love him so much, for example. He doesn't want his friends too close of him, because maybe he's so sensitive in the fact he's always said no, but I know he's very sensitive, and wearing the sunglasses, etc. It's a way for him to protect himself, you know. So he doesn't explain his work.
Est-ce qu'un jour vous avez déjà aimé quelqu'un secrètement, sans lui dire?
Vous savez, d'aimer quelqu'un c'est bien, mais il faut rencontrer la personne qui vous aime comme vous voulez, qu'on vous aime, c'est encore autre chose. Hein. C'est pas non plus un sens unique. Alors c'est plus compliqué que ça, et c'est pour ça que c'est très difficile d'en parler. Et puis il y a eu quelques tragédies qui font que j'en ai vraiment pas envie de parler.
When you feel somebody so mysterious and like a big star, it was for me the best beginning to begin the film to enter into his bedroom, because the bedroom is the most private part in the house. So for everybody. So I like very much this scene because I was shooting since 3 months. I stayed 2 years with him shooting all time. And after 3 months, all day I wanted to enter in his bedroom, but I didn't know if I could. So I was waiting 3 months, and after 3 months, one morning I arrived and I knock on the door. And I said, can I enter? And he said yes, but maybe if I would ask the question 1 week before, or 1 day before, or 1 day after, you know, all my work was 50% making my film and 50% be careful to what I do, you know?
Je vais prendre quelques bagues si j'ai besoin.
It's very, very easy to be in love, like in love, not with sex, you know, in love like you can love somebody you work with. And it's very, very, because he's so incredible, he's so surprising, he always speaks and always it's funny, it's always intelligent. So you are like, he can be like a godfather, you know. And I didn't want that. And fortunately I had my camera to separate him and me. And some days, one day I remember I thought to myself in a night, I thought, I have not to forget I'm here to make a film and not to be friend or to be a part of his assistant or something like that.
Et vous étiez rêveur ou pas?
Rêveur?
Ouais.
Non, rêveur n'est pas le mot juste. J'avais une vision que je voulais faire, ce que je voulais faire, comme je voulais que la vie s'arrange, une idée, une vision, mais j'avais une vision précise et prêt à tous les sacrifices, mais pas à tous les compromis pour y arriver. Hein. J'étais déterminé, je suis né déterminé.